It's another Raw video from your boy Draft Raw Authentic. Yes, I am here, and like I said, this is a Raw video, so there will be no edits. Anyway, if you can tell by the title, then you know what this video is about. This is about the center prospects of the 2018 NFL Draft. First, I was actually going to do the whole interior line. But instead, I decided to separate them because there are a couple of guys that are offensive tackles that probably should be guards in the league. So there's a pretty good amount of guards in this draft. And then you have the situation with the centers. There are a couple of guard prospects that could double as centers. There are even tackle prospects that could actually play center in this league as well. So I have a list of names here. There's I'll say about 10, 11 names on this list. Some of the guys are, guys that I think that will excel. Then I have guys that I'm really not a fan of. And then there's a name out there that is not a lot of tape on. And that actually, I'm going to start with that player. And that's Will Clapp from LSU. Now with Will, this is a guy that there's not a lot of tape of him for this year. And even when I have watched him, I wasn't impressed. So he's one of those prospects that, I'm just not sure about. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with him anyway. I'm going to just leave his name out there just to say, hey, I said his name. I know who he is. So if you comment and you say, well, what about Will Clapp from LSU? I just gave you it. But you know what? Let's get on to this list. So the first name that we're going to name is Frank Ragnow from Arkansas, who I think is the best center in this draft. The guy, when it comes to pass blocking, when it comes to run blocking, I think technique-wise, he is the best pure center you're going to get. Now, the thing about these center prospects, what I can't really put out there or what I can't see when I'm watching tape most of the time is intellect. And one of the top things that a center needs is intellect. They're the ones that should be making all the calls on the offensive line. So when I'm looking at these centers, I'm looking at just what they do in a pure aspect. When it just comes to run blocking and pass blocking, the technique, it's not about intellectually what they do. It's just about technique. So as I'm naming these guys, it's going to be about technique. And when I see Frank Ragnow, he has some of the best technique that I've seen for a guy that doesn't have the greatest athleticism or may not be the strongest. He has good technique. Run blocking, pass blocking, he can do it all. To me, which makes him the best center prospect. What also is that he could double as guard if he's not intellectually that great. The simple fact is that I can play him at more than one position. Now, looking at what the media is saying, I have him as the best. They don't. And he's actually kind of rated to go in the third or fourth round. Like I said, I don't do projections because to me, if you're good, you're good. It doesn't matter where you get picked. If you're good, you're good. To me, if you're good, then you should be picked in the first or second round. And I have my little things about how to pick certain players. I'm not the type of person that when it comes to a guard, I wouldn't pick a guard in the first round, even a center, unless they are like really, really good. Which then when I put up my guard video next, you'll see a guy that even though I'm not like huge on being picked in the first round, he's a guard that I guess can say, yeah, you could pick him, but I don't know about top 10. But at the same time, his talent would say that he is that good. But anyway, this is about the center prospects, and Frank Ragnow, to me, is the best center. Number 2 on the list is Billy Price from Ohio State. Now, with Billy Price, I saw him as the most athletic one. And he's a guy in the media that he's looked at as going in the first round. Now, he has, at the combine, in the bench press, he tore his pec. So that could drop him down a bit. But at the same time, those type of injuries you can recover from and be ready for the season. I think he has the ability to play in this league. I mean, all these guys have the ability to play in this league, but his athleticism gives him a distinctive advantage over a lot of these centers. Most centers in the league are not that athletic. So when you see a guy like Billy Price, he brings the athleticism plus the ability to be able to run and pass block. To me, he actually kind of would be considered the best. But I think that just as a pure technique-wise, Frank Ragnow from Arkansas is the best, while Billy Price is just the most athletic. But I would say with both of them, they're 1 and 2, and they're interchangeable, and it really doesn't matter. I think you can get either one of them and get a really good center, maybe even a future Pro Bowl type center. Anyway, next name on my list of prospects that should excel at the center position is Brian Allen from Michigan State. To me, he's the most underrated out of all of them. He's not the most athletic. He's not the strongest. He's not, all of that stuff. But he's one of those guys that if I plug in at center, I know that I'm going to have a pretty good, solid guy. He's may not be a Pro Bowler. He may not have the best looking blocks in the world or have the best blocks, period, or whatever. But he's a guy that I know that I can say, you know what? You're going to play center for me day one, and I know you're going to do a pretty solid job. You're not going to be the best at it, but you're definitely not going to be the worst. You're going to be a middle of the pack, but I can get away with it with you because if I put 2 solid guards right next to you, then it don't really matter. You know what I mean? He's a guy that he can hold his own weight. So that's another center on the list. The next name on my list is Isaiah Wynn from Georgia. The best combo interior lineman. I have him on a list of center prospects because during practices, he actually played center for Georgia. They didn't have him play center in the game, but during practices they did. Now with Wynn, like I said, the best combo interior lineman. He is a guy that actually played left tackle for Georgia, or just tackle, period. And he's also been playing guard and center during the practices and stuff like that. He's a guy that he can pretty much play all the positions on the offensive line in the league, but he's probably better at playing the interior line, which is both guard positions and the center positions. This thing about Isaiah Wynn is that, like I said, with his ability, with his versatility, it helps him a lot. Now, on a list, I probably would have him as the best guard in the draft, but I put him at center because centers are undervalued in the league, but they're valued enough to where you will notice when you don't have a good center. And so when you have a guy that's like him, that like a Frank Ragnow is very technical in his pass and run block, you put him in that center, you know you're going to get a good player. I don't know if he's a very smart guy intellectually, but I know that I'm going to get good play out of this dude. And he actually is another guy that could kind of have Pro Bowl potential. But it's just all about how does he transition to be able to play the position. So we'll see with Isaiah Wynn, but he's a prospect that I do like a lot. But anyway, the next name on the list is Sean Welsh. Now, Sean Welsh is a guy that he actually really didn't play center a lot. He played a lot of guard, but he's a guy that can play center in this league. During practices, he played center. He was the backup center from Iowa. Their center was James Daniels, who I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But Sean Welsh is a good blocker, but the only thing that he can't do is run. And I think that that's probably the biggest reason why he will be better at the center position than the guard position. The dude can't run at all. And what I mean when I say that is that during screen plays or pulling plays, when a guard or a center or interior or even a tackle, they go from one side of the offensive line and pull all the way to the other side to make a block. That's what pulling means. And when he does that at his guard position, he's not good at it. And not saying that he's not good at it, but he's not that fast. And when he runs, he's kind of slow to get to the block. And that's going to hurt when it comes to a lot of teams. That's going to hurt. So him playing guard is probably not the best because it's hard to have him be out there on screens or on pulling plays. And a screen is the throw into a running back and have your offensive line block down the field for your running back to, get some big yardage. But with him, with his ability to not run that well, it hurts him a lot. I mean, a lot. So here's a guy that he's a guard, but will probably have to make a living at playing center. And that's why I have him on my center list. But the simple fact is that he's still a good blocker when the play's right in front of him. He's a good blocker. And that's the biggest reason why I have to put him on a list of players that I think that, at a center position he will excel. The next name on this list is Austin Corbett from Nevada. Now, he's a good player, but he played left tackle. They're saying that he will probably have to make a living at center. I can see it on tape a little bit. His feet are not the greatest, and he's not, that big. But what I really do like about Austin is that he's a guy that can grow into the position. And at the center position, where a lot of these teams are saying that he probably will be playing and they've tested him out at center, he needs about a year or two. He's not going to get it right away, but he's a guy that, look at down the road, 3 years into his career, he'll be a starting center. He should be a starting center, and he should be a solid one. Now, that was the last name on the list of the prospects at the center position that I think that will excel. The rest of these names are guys that I'm just not a fan of. Bradley Bozeman from Alabama, he needs a lot of work. I don't know if he's a starting center in this league anyway, but he definitely needs a lot of work. Scott Quessenberry from UCLA, I don't think he has the strength. And to me, he's a backup guy or a guy that maybe like a Brian Allen, if you put him besides two really, really strong, good guards, he's going to excel in a way because he's a guy that you just put out there and he can snap the ball well. He's not going to really make a lot of mistakes there. But blocking one-on-one, him trying to block a guy one-on-one, he's going to get blown up every single time. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I would say that out of all the names that I'm not a fan of, that the last two names that I'm going to name, he's a guy that I can literally say, like, I can still get away with him. Mason Cole from Michigan, just not a huge fan of him. As a tackle, he was absolutely terrible, getting bull rushed. The guys going around him. I think if he plays against speed, he's gonna get mollywopped a lot. Like it wasn't good tape that I saw, but I haven't seen him at center, so I can't really say anything else. But I just know that, to me, I'm not a huge fan of him. The last name is James Daniels from Iowa. He's a good solid player. There's nothing really special about him. I can honestly say, he has some blocking skills, but like a Welsh, he's not good pulling and running and all of that. It's just not great. And I think that, he's a guy that will need help like pretty much all the time in the NFL when it comes to blocking. He's not like Welsh, his partner, where one-on-one, Welsh can block a guy. With James Daniels, he will always need help. And that's the thing that, when you're trying to get a good center in this league, you can't help him all the time. And that's the biggest reason why I'm not a fan of James Daniels. But anyway, guys, that was the last name on the list. If you have a problem with this list of who I named, please comment so we can debate about it. Please share so other people can join that debate. Please hit that like button if you like it. And if you want to see more videos of me, please subscribe. Help me. Help me out. Anyway, people, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this journey that I'm taking you on, because I know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm trying to get to this certain level, and I need your help. So, just thank you. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.